question today is, do the baseball glove webs actually matter? We've got a lot to choose from. I don't have everything, but I have a lot. Will it make you better or worse at certain positions if you're using certain webs? This question actually matters a lot for anybody designing a 44. The reason is you get to choose whatever web you want. So if you're making like a 13-inch outfield glove and you choose a single post web, your glove is gonna turn out pretty bad. That's just the reality. By the way, the Yay baseball hoodie and t-shirt are on ballgloveking.com, so go check it out.
We need to know if it actually matters what web you're using. This here is a closed web, like a pitcher's web, literally one slab of leather. This is actually a Japanese infield model. Here in the US, it would not be called an infield glove. This would be considered a pitcher's glove. That's why I'm just so interested in it. Gonna end up making a whole video on this glove because I love it. We just made a video on this last week. So this is also considered a pitcher's glove with that basket web, but this is actually the Derek Jeter model. I do not like this glove the same way I like the other one. That's the major difference. All right, let's switch over to just an eye web. This is literally like shortstop second. This is extremely common. You're always gonna be able to tell like little differences with the web. In my opinion, one of the things you can tell the biggest difference with is just how much leather there is on the web. That brings me to the one-piece web. The one-piece web is actually very similar to an eye web. There's just more leather on it. And so it kind of feels like a little bit more of a smack when you do catch it in the web. And if we're gonna talk about eye webs, I should probably mention the modified V web. This is literally the exact same thing. It's just gonna look slightly different. Yeah, it performs exactly the same as an eye web. Another common infield web is a trapeze or modified trap. This is a JJ Hardy model, and I personally love it. It used to be like my favorite thing to use. This was my gamer in high school. There's a ton of laces in this, so personally, my experience has been that it's very stiff and harder to break in than your typical eye web. This is actually my like freshman year glove. I haven't used this in like years. This feels good. Happy to actually get some ground balls with this again. Now, any web that just has one piece of leather down, and then one across, and one more across at the top, it's like a single post web. This here has a hinge in the middle, so it's called the hinged post. I love these, I just love the look. These are deep webs, typically used at like third.
I'm gonna try to explain something that's actually pretty confusing, so stick with me. Take a company like Wilson. Any glove that they have that has an eye web on it is made for like middle infield, maybe third base. Because it's widely known as an infielder's web, they're only gonna put it on gloves made for the infield. Now, switch to something like 44. This is just the normal Pro 44 model. It doesn't matter what web I choose, the glove itself is all gonna be the same, they're just gonna slap a different web. So if you have the same glove and swap it out with a different web, the difference is gonna be pretty dang minor. You'll be able to tell, but it'll be minor. The biggest difference in all gloves is gonna be how it's actually shaped. As a shortstop or a second baseman, you're not wanting to buy something with a pitcher's web. Even if you like the way it looks, the problem with the pitcher's glove is that it's gonna have a very deep pocket and it's gonna make transfers just slower. So stick to what we know. Eye webs are great for infield. You'll see a lot of single post webs like this. The H web is great for any position, but it's most common for third base and outfield. And the list goes on and on. We don't have time to talk about all of it right now. What I'm trying to say is that the web definitely has an impact on the glove, but the biggest difference is found within the shape of the glove itself. Is it actually designed for third, or is it a pitcher's glove? Is it designed for second base? Every glove is gonna be very different, so it's good to learn what webs are used at what positions for that reason.
The H web. I'm actually gonna take a second to talk about this one a little bit more in depth. I believe that the H web is like the best web out of all of them. It's the most like versatile, can be used anywhere, and performs the best when it comes to like longevity and whatnot. It's easily my favorite web if I just had to pick one. This is what I used in like my senior year. Let's take a second to talk about outfield gloves because they matter too. So with outfield gloves, H web is definitely the most common. Then you also have trapeze style webs. They just have a ton of lacing. I prefer the 6-finger where there's nothing up top. It does feel a little scary, almost like you're gonna lose any snow cones. I get that, but it just feels good in my opinion. And then a trapeze is when there's that bar up top with all these laces. This happens to be a Y web. It's the same thing as a normal trapeze. There's literally no difference, it's just looks. The thing is that none of them are necessarily better than the other. When it comes to outfield, you need to figure out what you like, what feels good on the hand, actually try to use it. Maybe find a friend of yours who has a different outfield glove, try it out.
Okay, you guys, so I'm currently editing and I'm not 100% satisfied with how I explained this. There's two people out there that are concerned about what web they should be getting. There's people shopping online or at a store and they have two 11.5-inch gloves with different webs and they don't know why they have different webs. And then the other side is the people building custom gloves online and they don't know what web to choose. For those of you who are buying stock gloves, the web is the best way to tell what position the glove is made for. Like I mentioned before, an eye web is almost always for shortstop second, or sometimes third. So by knowing what webs are typically used for what position, you can get the best glove possible for yourself. But my point is that the web itself doesn't make a huge difference. For those of you who are building a custom glove, if you're playing shortstop or second and you want a single post web, you can totally do that. Like we mentioned, the pocket may be a little bit deeper. Even like that Japanese model I mentioned earlier is a single piece web, but it's designed for shortstop and second base. Whereas here in the US, we would like never even imagine that because we're so dead set on having certain webs for certain positions. Don't get me wrong, the web 100% makes a difference, but it's not as big as just the shape of the glove itself. It's very valuable to understand why certain webs are used at certain positions. I can talk about that in the future. Hopefully that makes more sense. So as we said, the shape of the glove is going to make the biggest difference. I recommend going to watch this video. It's Andrelton Simmons glove, and the shape on this is actually kind of unique. So go check it out.
You just need to pick what you think works well for you, what you like, the comfort. Suck at talking.